Happening now on Grid Tonight. Yesterday morning, we saw an early game of musical chairs, Formula One Team Principal Edition, who will make the greatest impact with their new team. SRX will not return to CBS in 2023 because they're moving over to ESPN. Will the return of Thursday Night Thunder live up to the hype? The FIA World Endurance Championship is headed to Qatar in 2024 for an endurance race. Why is this a very controversial move as Qatar expands its presence in motorsports? Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish, and with me, as always, Joshua Birch. We encourage everyone to comment in the chat below and ask any questions you may have. Josh, I hit the button for the intro music. It didn't work, so I guess we'll just carry on with the top story this evening.
Oh, that's a shame. I could hear it in my ears, so let's hope everyone else heard it. But hello, Kobe. Okay, top story then, and it really was the busiest week I've ever known in a Formula One winter off season, because early on Tuesday morning, the Formula One paddock went through an unusual game of musical chairs, as Kobe mentioned about, with team principals on the move. As we recently discussed on Grid Tonight, Mattia Binotto and Ferrari parted ways. We've talked about media reports of Fred Vasseur being on Ferrari's shortlist as candidates to replace Binotto. Alfa Romeo, they made the first move, which started off a chain of reaction of announcements when they said that Vasseur would be departing his role with the team. Only a minute later, Ferrari announced that they have hired Frederick Vasseur to become the new team principal and general manager. A wonderful photo there in his Ferrari suit as well. Vasseur will be tasked with rebuilding Ferrari from top to bottom and help them with their first and or constructors title since the late 2000s. The arrival of Frederick Vasseur on January 9th, 2023 is welcome news to Charles Leclerc, who worked with him during his time with Alfa Romeo. Photo courtesy there of Ferrari. And bring you back in, Kobe, as well. And I see you once again. I haven't said that yet today. With Fred Vasseur to Ferrari now official, is he the right leader to take Ferrari back to its glory days of being the gold standard in Formula One?
Well, Josh, I think it's way too early to tell if Fred Vasseur is going to be able to meet the challenge of leading the Ferrari team, because as we've been saying, as we've talked about this, I believe the last 2 weeks in a row now third week of talking about this particular story, that there's going to be a lot more pressure on Fred Vasseur now, a lot more pressure compared to what he was dealing with at Alfa Romeo, and there's going to be a lot he's going to have to change within this Ferrari organization. Right now, Ferrari is wounded inside that organization, and they really need a lot of changes. And Vasseur is going to need to come in, clean up all the mess, put all the right people in the right places, bring in his own people, which he'll probably do, and put his stamp on Ferrari. As you mentioned, Ferrari used to be the gold standard in Formula One, and not winning a driver or constructors championship since the late 2000s. That's unacceptable by Ferrari standards. So since then, Red Bull and Mercedes have been the ultimate gold standard in Formula One. It's been a long time since Ferrari has been that standard throughout their history. They've set the bar really high. They haven't reached that in a long time, and we'll see if Fred Vasseur can meet the moment and bring Ferrari back to the glory days.
Absolutely, and if Frederick Vasseur is really smart, he'll bring his chief strategist along with him, Ruth Buscombe, in order to replace Lawrence Mekies as well at Ferrari, who I've been saying has not been good in the strategy role all season long. So bring Ruth Buscombe in, then you've really got a... So let's see what happens in the coming weeks. Now, the next silly season shuffle happened as well with McLaren and the announcement that Andreas Seidl is departing from McLaren to become the new CEO of the Sauber Group. That is to oversee the Alfa Romeo F1 team. Andreas Seidl brings a lot of experience to the Sauber Group as they are set to transition from Alfa Romeo to Audi in 2026. He has served in the role of team principal at McLaren since 2019. Before that, he led Porsche's FIA World Endurance Championship LMP1 program to several titles and 3 overall wins in the Le Mans 24 hours as well. So, of course, with the link being to Porsche and Audi very much linked together. Nice to see that coming forward as well. Coming to Sauber is really a homecoming for Seidl, served as their head of track operations as well with the team when they were aligned with BMW, photo courtesy there of Alfa Romeo, and receiving a promotion from Executive Director of McLaren F1, Andrea Stella. Remember that one, Andrea Stella. Now will replace Andreas Seidl as team principal with immediate effect. Spot how many times in commentary next year I'm going to make the mistake of misinterpreting their names. But this is with immediate effect as well. McLaren is getting a brilliant mind to lead the team, as Stella holds a degree in aerospace engineering and a PhD in mechanical engineering. He starts off his F1 career working 15 years at Ferrari, where he worked with Michael Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen, and Fernando Alonso. Since becoming a key member of McLaren in 2015, Stella went from head of race operations to performance director, executive director, and now all the way to the top of team principal. Photo courtesy there of McLaren. I think we actually mentioned him as well about the Ferrari days, and it's now coming through with Alfa Romeo and McLaren, both the new team principals. Kobe, will Alfa Romeo and McLaren be in good hands with their new team leaders?
Well, Josh, you just laid out their resume, and it's very impressive, especially for Andrea Stella, somebody who studied aerospace engineering and with a PhD in mechanical engineering. It sounds like he really knows his stuff, and you just mentioned all of the different promotions he's received inside the team. Since 2015, head of race operations, performance director, executive director, now team principal. It's clear that he's really worked hard to lead the McLaren team moving forward. And it seems like they have a brilliant guy who's going to be leading their program moving forward. And for Andreas Seidl, it's like you said, it's a real homecoming for him going back to the Sauber Group. He's a winner. He helped McLaren, become a solid team in the midfield, and we'll see if he can help Alfa Romeo for the next few years. And then 2026, that's the big year we're going to be watching when the Sauber team is going to depart with Alfa Romeo and become Audi. And that's certainly going to be very exciting to watch how Andreas Seidl is going to be able to lead the Audi project in 2026. I'm sure he'll last that long, right? We don't really know now. We don't really know nowadays in Formula One.
Well, it's funny actually you say that, because Otmar Safnauer, who's been team principal at Alpine for 9 months or so, only this season, or maybe it's 2 years. I can't actually remember. Wow, if it's 2 years, I'm shocked. But he's become the second most experienced team principal as well. That's insane to think that as well. One final bit of 2023 F1 silly season news. Jost Capito has departed his role as CEO and team principal at Williams after 2 years. Capito said it was a huge privilege to lead Williams and lay the foundations for the team's turnaround as they continue their march up the grid. As well, chairman of Dorito Capital, Matthew Savage, thanked Capito for his efforts in reviving Williams, and very grateful that his planned retirement was postponed to take on the challenge of rebuilding one of Formula One's most historic teams. Technical director FX Dimison as well is also departing the team. Williams do plan to announce its new team principal and technical director at a later date, and the photo courtesy there of Williams. Kobe, is the Williams job opportunities that have cropped up a very attractive position?
Well, Josh, if you're someone who really likes a rebuilding project, then I think it'll be a good position for them, because I know, in recent years, things haven't really been going well for Williams in Formula One. But this year, although things, probably didn't go as well as they wanted to, we still saw some improvement from the team. And compared to recent years, that's something that Williams has to be very, very excited about. Yeah, it was kind of surprising to me to see Capito depart the team, then the technical director as well. And Williams moving forward, they'll need to make sure that they'll get somebody who's committed to this project, to rebuilding the team. There's some things that Williams can be really excited about. You have Alex Albon, who's looked impressive, getting as much as he can out of that Williams car, trying to revive his own Formula One career. And then we have the American Logan Sargent that a lot of people from the United States are going to be watching next year, and that's certainly a group, two young drivers that the team can really build around. So they'll need somebody who can get them the right equipment to continue their march of the grid and into the midfield.
Absolutely. Moving on to our second story then of the evening. After 2 seasons in prime time on CBS, the Superstar Racing Experience, that's SRX, is moving to Thursday nights for the third season in summer 2023 with a new broadcast partner, the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN. SRX and ESPN announced that they've signed a multi-year media rights agreement that will see the series air exclusively on ESPN. The 6-race schedule will air on 6 consecutive Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, beginning on July 13th and ending on August 17th. My mother's birthday. That's great. As well, the 6 tracks on the 2023 SRX schedule will be announced at a later date. Graphic courtesy there of SRX. Kobe, are you surprised that SRX is going to ESPN instead of returning to CBS?
Well, just for a direct answer to your question, I'll pull up this article from the Sports Business Journal, and 2023 will be the third season of SRX, as you said. And looking at season 1 and season 2, season 2 we saw in summer 2022, the audience dropped 20% in year 2 on CBS, as we saw. And it's on the screen. CBS saw viewership for the second season of the Camping World SRX Series drop 20%. Reported by Sports Business Journal's Austin Karp, the racing circuit, which held 6 consecutive Saturday night primetime telecasts from June 18th through July 23rd, averaged just over 1 million viewers. That's below the 1.25 million for year 1 in 2021. And looking a little bit more deep into this, I said that SRX, they had a goal that they'd be closer to 3 million viewers per race, and the audience this season for SRX is also well below what CBS was averaging on Saturday in those primetime windows from in 2020 and 2019. So SRX did not do well in that prime time spot. When other shows were happening in that exact same primetime window, and it makes me wonder. Josh, 3 million viewers for SRX, and when you're thinking of how motorsports is in today's day and age, 3 million viewers seems kind of unrealistic. So I don't really know what they were thinking there and shooting for 3 million. I guess they assume, since they had a lot of stars from past and present from NASCAR and IndyCar, I wonder if they assumed that, those two fan bases, would merge together and then you get the 3 million. But unfortunately, it just didn't happen. And looking at all the numbers throughout the 2022 SRX season, we've been wondering if CBS will be willing to renew that contract, because at the same time, the ratings need to justify that slot. And with SRX underperforming and not even coming close to their goal of 3 million viewers, I have a feeling that might be the reason why they left CBS.
Yeah, CBS, unfortunately, not really the home of sports it once was back in the late 90s, early 2000s as well. Back when they used to have every single sport under the sun, but now sadly not the way. But with SRX racing on a new night and on a new network as well, this means that it's the return of the iconic ESPN Thursday Night Thunder branding. For those of you who don't know the history of Thursday Night Thunder, it was a program that originally aired on ESPN in the 1980s, bringing attention to grassroots racing and some star drivers, such as the SRX co-founder Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart, of course, responsible for many other things that we don't talk about on this network as well, back in IndyCar eras. In the third season as well of SRX competition, Stewart hopes to continue the tradition of having drivers from NASCAR, IndyCar, and other series competing against each other in prime time under the lights on ESPN. I've heard that somewhere before with Tony Stewart saying that it would be some magical entertainment and they bring out the best in both series. Anyway, moving on as well, Stewart said Thursday Night Thunder is where drivers like himself were able to make a name for themselves in the USAC. That's the USAC, of course, because it aired on ESPN as well. SRX CEO Don Hogg believes this will be another disruptive and momentum event in SRX and racing history to reunite fans with ESPN on short tracks. Hawk added that Thursday Night Thunder is where he met Stewart and, of course, Jeff Gordon back in the day. ESPN President of Programming and Original Content Burke Magnus as well said that SRX has produced competition and exciting action. He's looking forward to bringing back racing live to ESPN on Thursday nights as well. Kobe, coming to you, can SRX live up to the Thursday Night Thunder name that has been such historically done over the late 80s, early 90s?
Like I said earlier, Josh, when we were talking about Vasseur and Ferrari, I think it's really too soon to tell. I really like to see SRX clean up some of the things that went wrong in 2022. And because I know we saw several issues with the broadcast that really turned off some people. Timing and scoring was wacky at certain points, and then at the very end of the season, there was confusion of who in the world is the actual champion of SRX. Of course, it's Marco Andretti, but some people thought Andretti didn't have it because some people have been keeping up and calculating the points on their own, and they got a different champion that was not Marco Andretti, and then actually had to come out and clarify that Marco Andretti is the SRX champion, and it just really turned a lot of people off. Like I've said in the past many times, I want SRX to succeed. I want it to be great. I want it to live up to the Thursday Night Thunder name. I just think that there are just some things that they really, really need to clean up if they want SRX to get back to some of the numbers that it lost in 2022. And going back to that article, it really shocked me when I saw that they lost 20% of viewership, and I'm wondering if they also, because the novelty of SRX had worn off. I remember season 1, there was this massive hype about SRX, and then I'm looking on my Twitter timeline, people were tweeting about it a lot, and then in 2022, as we got towards the end of the season, I noticed a lot less people were talking about SRX, and I'm also hoping, by having this on Thursday nights, we can get some stars from NASCAR and IndyCar to compete rather than, being able to get someone like Chase Elliott or Ryan Blaney for a weekend or two, because when it's been on the Saturday nights, IndyCar drivers are at the track focusing on their IndyCar duties, and NASCAR drivers at the track focusing on everything they have going on. So Thursday night is a perfect opportunity before, Friday practice and qualifying sessions for those drivers to be able to have one night of fun and then go focus on their day job. So hopefully that'll open up some slots for other drivers to come and have some fun in SRX.
Yeah, perfect warm up as well. So I'd love that. And even we get it over here now. It's moving to ESPN. I presume it'll be on Sky as well over here in the UK because we share a lot of common scenes. Or maybe it'll actually be on BT Sport here in the UK because of ESPN. So hopefully that's something that we can now watch as well over here. And I can get back more into it because I'm hearing all the time in the chat from you a lot about it as well. So it's really going to be exciting. Adam says, hello, Adam. Welcome back. I can't wait to see what tracks SRX uses in 2023. Well, it'll be short tracks, so it can be fantastic as well. And we've also heard another short track that's coming back for the All-Star race next year. Started renovation work today. Woohoo. Looking forward to seeing that one back in the calendar. Now, as well, moving on to our third story of the evening as well. And this one very much is deserving of the name Hot Topic for many different reasons as well. So let's begin. In 2024, the FIA World Endurance Championship will be heading to a new country, joining Bahrain as the second Middle East race on the calendar. Qatar is set to become the 2024 WEC season opener. The race will take place at the Lusail International Circuit, which is located on the outskirts of the country's capital, Doha. This circuit is also the same track that hosts MotoGP, historically its season opener as well, but now moving to a later race date to accommodate the F1 paddock work as well, when F1 also returns to the circuit next season in 2023. As I said, it is currently undergoing extensive renovation and remodeling the paddock area and the facilities as well. We will also see the prologue pre-season test take place before race weekend. Now, WEC have signed a 6-year deal with Qatar to keep them until at least 2029. Adding Qatar to the calendar was met with a lot of criticism as well, to no one's surprise. Qatar has a poor human rights record, especially discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community and women not having the same rights as men. Many accuse Qatar of using a concept known as sports washing to distract people with sports, so you don't pay attention to the most unpleasant things about the country. If you've been following the FIFA World Cup, you've probably heard a lot about Qatar, and in the news recently, because it's the host nation for this year's FIFA World Cup. Despite the games going on, Qatar remains in hot water with the international community after it was reported that many migrant workers died working on facilities to host this World Cup, and others were mistreated. Now, Qatar's poor human rights record got louder on the international stage following the sudden and shocking death of well-known American soccer journalist Grant Wall as well. Before he passed away, Wall was known for shining the light on important social matters and issues as well, including standing up for the mistreatment of the LGBTQ plus community in Qatar. Wall tried to enter the stadium wearing a shirt in pride colours before a game. I believe it was the Netherlands versus France, but Qatar officials wouldn't let him in and told him to remove the shirt. He eventually got into the stadium for the match, but he made a statement showing he stood in solidarity with a group of people facing discrimination. He also called out Qatar in his professional work for its poor human rights record leading up to his death. However, Wall's family said foul play wasn't a factor. Instead, it was ironic as well. Kobe, you're going to have to help me out with this one because you're much better pronouncing this bit.
It's an aortic aneurysm. It's also the same thing that unfortunately took my grandfather's life in 2005.
Yes, and I thought you're much better to announce that as well than I was as well with the pronunciation of it as well, because sadly you've gone through it as well. It is sad we even had to suspect the Qatari government because of how they've consistently mistreated people who challenged them and tried to hold them accountable. Kobe, did WEC choose money over morals by signing a long-term deal to race in Qatar?
And before I answer your question, Josh, I want to send my thoughts and prayers to Grant Wall's family, his friends during this incredibly difficult time because this is something so as you said so shocking and sudden, especially happening during this time of year. Out of all the time of year, it's really worse when it happens right before Christmas. This is feeling that it's very difficult to get over. So sending my well wishes out to them. And although his cause of death was an aortic aneurysm, it's really tragic. At the same time, I'm also happy that Qatar did not kill him, because that's something that many people were really fearing. And also, as you said, Josh, it's that we even had to suspect Qatar doing this, because it wouldn't have been a surprise if Qatar had done something like this, because they don't like people who try to challenge what they consider societal norms and hold them accountable for what we consider wrongful actions. And getting back to the question you asked, the FIA World Endurance Championship certainly chose money over morals. What did Lewis Hamilton say back in 2020? Cash is king, and this is exactly what this is right here. Yeah, and these countries, like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, they try sports washing to distract everybody, but you know what? It's not working. People are not going to be distracted by sports. Yes, people may enjoy the sporting events that are happening in those countries, but at the end of the day, people are continuing to shine the light on all of these different societal issues and how it mistreats certain groups of people. So sports wash is not working at all for Saudi Arabia or Qatar. And the World Endurance Championship, I'm sure before they signed this deal, I knew it was going to be a very unpopular thing. But at the end of the day, like as you stated, Josh, they chose money over morals here, and it's really sad that they decided to do this.
And also, as well, it's absolutely horrible what they've done. It's absolutely horrible what they continue to do as well. I've been commentating a lot of the FIFA World Cup this tournament as well for radio, and the only thing that I've taken away from it as well is the positivity as well. The fact that every time I'm in the commentary box, I can hear there's young kids cheering along, young Qatari kids watching the matches, getting into football. That's a good aspect of it as well. But it drags everything else down with the negativity around the migrant workers, the workers who are actually Qatari, who then got injured and killed as well. And I believe also I read earlier on this morning as well that sadly an official died after falling from one of the stadiums as well. And it's just, you read all this and you think, why is it here? Why more and more big organizations seem to be more and more corrupt, just taking the money and not shining light on these matters? You can make the excuse, oh, we're going there and we're going to shine a light on it. But that's what we said about Bahrain. And look what happened in 2011, 2012. Formula One got vilified for being there. We said, well, we're going to Saudi Arabia and we will demonstrate that we actually care. And the only sport that's done that is Formula E. Formula E went there, and in their very first series with the Jaguar E-Pace, they put a Saudi Arabian female driver in the car and let her race. She only got her driving license 3 months before. They also held the mid-season test after that race in Saudi Arabia, and they put female drivers in the car. So it's that same thing. Formula E have done it. Formula One haven't. They continue not to really care. And I think also, on a different matter, Qatar seem to be just sort of getting everything in for racing, but the track isn't right. The Losail International Circuit is specifically designed to be a MotoGP bike track. It's great at motorcycle racing. It gives us some of the best racing of the year. But we had one Formula One race there and nothing happened because it's too small of a circuit. It's too flat and it's too small. It's basically like racing around a swimming pool layout. It's completely not working. There's no depth to it either. So I think Formula One are going to have boring races there. WEC's going to have boring racing there. And that makes me think as well that it's not the entertainment value that you've gone there for. It's purely the money. So that's really, really got to change. And I'll throw it back over to you, Kirby, because you've got more news. But SHT's got news first saying this F1 season just gets silly as ever. I didn't see Andrea Stella departing from McLaren coming at all. It was rumoured and official on the same day. Yeah, there was some talk that he was leaving at the end of 2025 to then take up the role for 2026, but it's really kick-started now because of Mattia Binotto being sacked and Frederick Vasseur going over, that Andrea Seidl's now decided to move over early to the project as well. But his McLaren contract was out at the end of 25, and he was always going to leave then at 2025 to join Audi as well, with Sauber, the tie-up there. But anyway, that's enough for me. Kobe's got more motorsport war around the world.
And before I get to that, just got a comment from Adam Limerick saying, by the way, on this day in 1947, NASCAR was founded at the Streamline Hotel in Daytona Beach, Florida. Thank you for sharing that wonderful fact, Adam. I remember doing a project on that in my NASCAR history class in college, which was really cool. And yeah, at UNC Charlotte, they have an online NASCAR history class, which was super exciting for somebody like me. And yes, I got it 100% in the class, and I got 100 on the exam. It was basically like taking elementary math, like what is 1 + 1, what is 10, what is 10 - 9. It was really just that simple. Yeah, so if you're interested in going to UNC Charlotte, please take NASCAR history. You'll really, really love it. And next, some more motorsports news from around the world. Toyota announced its plans for the 2023 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. Two-time ARCA Menard Series East champion Sammy Smith is moving up to Xfinity full-time, driving the number 18 Toyota Supra for Joe Gibbs Racing. In the number 19 JGR Toyota, vacated by Brandon Jones, who's moving over to JRM, Junior Motorsports. That ride will be shared by multiple drivers. It was announced that Ryan Truex will run 6 races in that car. Other drivers in the number 19 Xfinity car will be announced at a later date. After spending the last 2 years of running full-time in the truck series, John Hunter Nemechek will drive the number 20 Toyota full-time for JGR. Sam Hunt Racing is expanding to a 2-car team on a full-time basis with a pair of Toyota Supras. Kaz Grala will drive the number 26 Toyota Supra full-time, with Connor Mosack getting the number 24 in a 20-race schedule beginning at Phoenix in the spring. Carson Hocevar will return to the number 42 Nice Motorsports Chevrolet Silverado for his third season of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series competition after struggling to get a full-season sponsor. The WWEX racing program is stepping up its backing of Hocevar to sponsor him for the entire 2023 season. The WWEX program consists of sponsorship from Worldwide Express, Unishippers, and Global Trans. Hocevar showed his toughness earlier this year when he broke his ankle in a crash at Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway. Then he ended up winning the pole a week later on a road course at Sonoma on crutches following surgery. Days later, imagine breaking your ankle, having surgery, and then go qualify on the pole at a road course of all places. So Carson Hocevar, he won the Tough Guy Award that week. In 2023, Hocevar is still looking for his first career Truck Series win after he came close numerous times in the past. Graphic you see on the screen, courtesy of Nice Motorsports. Vasseur Sullivan Racing confirmed this 2023 IMSA program fielding 2 Lexus RCF GT3 cars again, one in GTD Pro and the other in GTD, and returning to the number 14 Lexus in GTD Pro. Jack Hawksworth and Ben Barnicoat will team up again. Meanwhile, in GTD, The number 12 Lexus will see the same driver lineup too, with Aaron Talitz and Frankie Montecalvo. The endurance drivers will be announced at a later date. Graphics courtesy of Vasseur, Sullivan Racing. And next, a major shakeup and a shock to the Repco Supercars Championship. Longtime Holden driver Garth Tander is switching to Ford in 2023. Tander was Shane Van Gisbergen's co-driver for the endurance races for the last 4 years, which includes 2 Bathurst 1000 victories. However, Tander decided not to renew his contract with Red Bull Ampol Racing, so SVG will have a new co-driver for the Enduros in 2023. Tander drove a Holden Commodore in all of his previous 642 career starts in supercars, but that will change when he switches over to Grove Racing in one of the Penrite Ford Mustangs next year for the Sandown 500 and Bathurst 1000. He'll also mentor Matt Payne in his rookie supercar season, and his 9-year-old son, Sebastian Tander, he's going to join the Grove Junior team to compete in karting, graphic courtesy of supercars. And our final news update from the other night, WeatherTech Racing will return to IMSA's GTD Pro Class for a full season with the support from Mercedes-Benz of Billings, Montana. The number 79 WeatherTech Mercedes-AMG GT3 will have a pair of factory drivers running full-time, Jules Gounon and Danny Hunkadea. Mauro Engel will join the lineup for the endurance races. Meanwhile, Cooper McNeil will complete their Rolex 24 lineup, but that'll be his only scheduled race of 2023 at this time because he's stepping back from full-time driving to focus on a management role within the team. Proton Competition will continue to lead this program.
Thank you, Kobe. Well done as always as well. Love it every time you go through those. Okay, final bit of news for you tonight as well. It's been Formula E, and they've started their testing for Season 9 and the first of Generation 3. Now, today was a little bit different to what the first day of testing brought in terms of the fact that today they did an event simulation. Now, what that means is that this morning, bright and early at 8 a.m., they started their practice for half an hour. Then they went into a qualifying simulation. So they did the whole duels, semifinals, quarterfinals, finals. Then, of course, they decided to do a race simulation. And this was very, very key because this year there's been a whole new change. Not only is there a new car, but there's new attack mode formats as well, where you have to use 2 attack modes across the entire race. Also, attack charge is going to be at select races as well, which means that halfway through the race, you come in, charge the car up and go again. And that also is going to have an effect on the race time because it's no longer going to be a timed event. We're going back to the old fashioned of having laps. Now, in today's simulation race around the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia, Spain, they completed 24 racing laps, as well as 1 additional lap due to a planned safety car caution and full course yellow. Now, during the race itself, they started from the pit lane behind the safety car, then progressed with a rolling start. Now, from the get-go, Rene Rast had the lead as well and looked to be dominant as well. But during an attack mode activation, he lost the lead, and that allowed Jake Hughes to come through and take the win. So Jake Hughes officially has won the first Generation 3 Formula E race, but of course it was a simulation. It means absolutely nothing at all. Going forward as well, in terms of the top speed of the cars, they're around about 0.2 faster than Generation 2, but Generation 2 had 4.5 years of development as well to get up quicker and quicker. So we're going to expect to see in race trim throughout this Season 9, Formula E's Gen 3 car getting faster and faster. Also interesting to note as well, that we completed today's 24 laps in around about 40 minutes. We're expecting the races to be around about an hour, and with the attack charge as well, around about an hour should still be the possible because we're going to maintain with number of laps. So it's a lap distance with a 60 minutes on the clock to complete the race. No more 45 minutes plus 1 lap. Going forward as well, in the 2 sessions that have already happened that are actually timed, it's actually been Max Gunther who's topped the time sheets as well, looking very, very quick as well. Mega, in fact, as well for Maserati as they join the championship as well. That's Maserati MSG Racing as well. The final day of action is on Friday. They take tomorrow off as well to regen the cars and get everything ready for a further 5.5 hours of testing. You can follow all of that on FIAFormulaEs.com website. You can have access to live timing as well and a driver tracker. And also join me on my YouTube channel, Joshua Birch Motorsports, on the weekend, because I'm going to have a special update show reviewing all of the action from the race simulation and looking back at the testing as well, and looking ahead to season 9 as well. And my channel has had a bit of a rebrand. It's Joshua Birch Motorsports now, or more easily put, JB Motorsports. A lot easier. And Ed, hi Ed. I was about to message you actually tomorrow as well to see if you're available this weekend. A simulation on purpose-built track that won't be used in season 9. I should also just point out, indeed you should. And Ed, I was about to text you as well. I was going to talk to you tomorrow when we're doing a commentary together. Are you available some point this weekend to film something? So you've just saved me something there. But that's all that's happened in Formula E as well, as a quick little update for you as well. And of course, just a reminder that season 9 begins in Mexico City on January the 14th as well. Very much looking forward to that one. Okay, time to wrap up, and a reminder that you can follow us on social media. Of course, we're on everything now: Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and of course LinkedIn, and use the hashtag GridRanking across all of our social medias, and of course the gridranking.com to look at everything on our website. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters as well: Colin, Mark, Deshelle, and Robin, for keeping us on the air in 2022. And of course, click on the link below to join our Patreon, or buy me a coffee for a one-time donation, as Edward already has. Hi, Ed. This feels something like a one-sided conversation, Josh, so I can pitch in. Yeah, it does, but I always love your comments, Ed. I can't wait to get back in the comment box with you as well. And usually it's the other way around, so that's going to be fun. Ed's already bought us a coffee, as you can tell. He's buzzed me up a little bit. Amber and Zachary have also done so throughout the year. And also use public.com to invest in the stock market. Use the code GRIDnet to earn free stocks, get started, and utilize the stock market for your own personal investment. For Kobe Lambeth at the podium finish, I'm Joshua Birch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. Help us get to 500 subscribers before the Daytona 500. 2023 is going to be a really fun season. We want you to be part of it in all our live programs, plus special programs such as Roundtable and Life on the Grid. Click on the links to see some of our great videos right here on the Grid Network.